video, we're really going to focus on stroke and stroke weight. We're going to talk a little bit about how Vincent van Gogh then painted his bedroom. It's different than a lot of other paintings, so it's worth us looking at. One of the jobs that an artist has within an art museum is to keep the artwork maintained, so to clean it, make sure it doesn't fall apart, but also study it. So when they were studying Vincent van Gogh's bedroom, they did an X-ray on it. An X-ray, that's kind of weird, right? You think about when you break your arm, you take an X-ray, but you didn't think about X-raying a painting. They actually do. So what we're going to do is look at this X-ray of Vincent van Gogh's The Bedroom, and what you're going to notice is all these quick movements. Those are strokes that he's making with his brush. They're quick, they're bold, and they overlap each other. So today what we're going to be focusing on when we use our colored pencils, crayons, or whatever colors you have is using the similar strokes. You'll also know that his strokes are still staying to his one-point perspective. That's really important as we go forward. Let's go ahead and get started with our color. All right, this is kind of a bonus lesson on how to add color to Vincent van Gogh's bedroom without using a paintbrush or paints. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a couple colors that I see just using colored pencils. So I see a couple different colors in his bed. And the one way you can do this is by imitating or pretending that's like a paintbrush and doing strokes, like paint strokes all over it. So I'm doing these paint strokes just like Vincent van Gogh would have done if he was actually painting this bed. But because you're at home and you may not have paints, if you do have paints, it's the same idea. You just go with strokes. I'm doing most of my strokes vertically, some are horizontal. Then I'm going to take another color, a brownish. We know he has a brown. I'm going to go ahead and start putting some different strokes in. And I'm going to trace around my shape a little bit. You can even put some of the darker areas. Go ahead and make those a little bit darker. But Vincent van Gogh was really famous for these quick, chaotic brush strokes. And that's what we're imitating really right here, or we're making, is we're using these quick, chaotic brush strokes. Now, one thing I noticed is that his bed has got this yellowish, orangish, kind of a gold hue to it. So we're going to try to get as close to that as we can. It might not be exact, and that's perfectly fine. If you have different yellows, this would be a good time to use those. Color on top of some of your strokes. You can go back and you can add some of the details in a little bit of a darker, into your darker brown. That'll help us see some of the details a little bit, but you can see that I'm just using these brush strokes, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm imitating Vincent van Gogh's paintbrush strokes by using pencil strokes. These are pencil strokes. And sometimes in art, we say the word stroke weight. So stroke. And then stroke weight just means the heaviness or lightness of this line. So if I was going to make this stroke, do you think this would be heavy or light? If you said heavy, you're absolutely right. If I make this stroke, is it going to be heavy or light? If you said light, you're absolutely right. So what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and add in color to Vincent van Gogh's bedroom. He was using paint. We are using either crayons, colored pencils, whatever you have at home. Just focus on the stroke weight. Make sure that you go ahead, get this done. I'm going to do a fast forward version of this, and so you can see my end product. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, a couple things I want to point out with our coloring is what I'm doing is I'm layering these strokes. I'm layering different strokes, different colors, and by layering them, I'm letting your eyes kind of mix those colors together. Now what I'm going to do is outline a little bit, so I'm going to find a dark color. In this situation, Vincent looks like he's using a lot of brown, so I'm using my dark brown. I'm going to go back through and now start to trace around some of my objects, just to make them a little bit darker so I don't lose them in all these strokes that I made. And remember, this area down here is a little bit shaded, so you don't have to see it all. But what I'm starting to do now is go ahead and find some of those shapes that maybe I've lost with my chaotic strokes that I've put in there. Which again, you really want to have those strokes so that people can see the similar method that Vincent van Gogh used when he was creating these. And go through and trace, make some of those areas darker so I can see where my objects are. I don't want them to hide. I kind of want them to jump out just like he had on his painting. Now, I could spend some more time on this, add a lot more details, kind of finish my flooring, but this was a quick explanation of how to use colored pencils, crayons, or markers to imitate what Vincent van Gogh was creating. So this again was Vincent van Gogh's bedroom. I'm Mr. Mariani. I look forward to seeing you guys next week as we both try